The earth was quiet, but the silence was only on the surface. Beneath the cities and oceans, humans were preparing for a war that could decide the fate of the galaxy. Admiral Minsuk stood in the control room of the main Earth Command Center, staring at the holographic display of the approaching enemy fleet. He was not the youngest, but his eyes held the sharpness of someone who had lived through every battle imaginable. Beside him, Captain Hannah checked the readiness of the warships. Her hands moved quickly over the console, confirming weapon systems, shields, and communications. The humans were not just preparing to fight. They were preparing to show the galaxy that humanity would not bow to anyone. Young officers moved through the control room, their faces tight with focus. Among them was Jiho, a tactical officer, still learning but already showing great skill in strategic planning. He looked at the maps, calculating the distance to the enemy and predicting their movements. "Admiral, they will arrive in 2 days if they maintain this course," Jiho said, his voice steady but carrying the tension that everyone felt. Minsuk nodded without speaking. He did not need words. The plan was clear. Humanity would strike first, not out of hate, but out of necessity. On the observation deck, Commander Yuna watched the stars streak past as the fleet prepared for hyperspace jump. The warships were large, strong, and filled with the best technology humanity could build. There were battleships with reinforced armor, fast attack ships that could strike and retreat in moments, and support vessels that carried everything from supplies to medical teams. Yuna felt the weight of responsibility. Millions of lives were counting on her decisions. She closed her eyes for a brief moment, imagining Earth behind her, a blue jewel in the dark. She promised herself that humanity would survive. Meanwhile, in the research sector, Engineer Daejin was testing a new kind of weapon. It was not the largest or most destructive, but it was precise, designed to disable the enemy without unnecessary destruction. Daejin was proud of his creation, but he knew that pride had no place here. Every moment mattered. Every calculation could mean life or death. His assistant, Miare, double-checked the targeting algorithms. "Are we ready for deployment?" Miare asked. Daejin looked at her and nodded. "As ready as we will ever be," he said. There was no fear in his voice, only determination. The humans were not alone in watching the approaching enemy. From distant systems, the Galactic Council observed quietly. Many had underestimated humanity, thinking them weak, young, and untested in galactic war. But now, even the Council could see that humanity's fleet was unlike anything they had faced before. The ships moved with coordination that suggested not just training but deep understanding. Each ship knew its role, and the humans moved like a single living organism. The Council recorded every movement, noting the courage and skill of the human race. Back on the flagship, Captain Hannah called all the ship commanders together. They gathered around the main holographic table, each ship represented by a small light in the formation. "Our goal is simple," Hannah said. "We will reach the Orion sector and stop the enemy before they can strike. We do not fight for conquest. We fight for survival and for every human on Earth." There was a pause. Every commander felt the weight of her words. Then, Admiral Minsuk added, "We are not just a fleet. We are humanity, and humanity does not surrender." The officers nodded, their resolve hardening. The fleet began its journey through the stars. Hyperspace lanes were calculated precisely, using the gravitational pull of nearby stars to mask their presence. Lieutenant Era, a young but brilliant navigator, handled the jumps with care, ensuring that every ship would emerge in perfect formation. Era's hands moved quickly over the controls, eyes never leaving the readouts. She knew that even a small mistake could scatter the fleet and leave them vulnerable. The stars blurred around them as they moved faster than light, each moment bringing them closer to the inevitable confrontation. Despite the advanced technology and careful planning, tension filled the fleet. Humans talked in hushed voices, sharing memories of home, families, and dreams for the future. Some prayed, some prepared mentally for the fight ahead, and some simply watched the stars, feeling both awe and fear. Among them, young soldier Sukwu tightened his helmet straps and looked at the view screen. "I never thought I would see this," he whispered to himself. He had trained for years, but no simulation could prepare him for the real sight of the enemy fleet looming in the distance. The enemy, a cold and disciplined armada, moved with confidence. Their ships were taller, their weapons more powerful, but humans had something they did not: creativity, adaptability, and courage. Captain Hannah studied the enemy formation carefully. "They think they are ready," she said to Min-suk, "but they have no idea what we are capable of." Min-suk smiled faintly, not with pride, but with quiet approval. Every human on the fleet understood the moment they were approaching could change the galaxy forever. As the fleet entered the edge of the Orion sector, sensors picked up the first signs of enemy movement. Scouts reported small skirmishes, but nothing that could stop humanity's advance. Commander Yuna gave the order to slow the fleet, keeping a safe distance to observe the enemy. "We need to know their strength, their weakness, and their pattern," she said. Jiho quickly analyzed the data, noting gaps in the enemy formation. "They are confident, but predictable," he said. "If we strike in the right sequence, we can disable their main force before they can respond." Back in the engineering section, Daejin and Miare prepared the experimental weapons for deployment. "Remember," Daejin said, "we may not get a second chance. Accuracy is everything." Miare nodded. She checked the targeting systems and confirmed the energy levels. The weapons hummed quietly, ready to fire. Every human on the fleet felt the same mix of fear and hope. They were about to face an enemy much larger than themselves, but they knew one thing: humanity would not back down. Night fell on Earth, though it was invisible to those traveling through space. Families waited, unaware of the battles about to unfold. Back on the fleet, communications were open but monitored. Some of the officers sent brief messages home, knowing they might not be able to respond again. Captain Hannah read a message from her younger brother, wishing her safety and urging her to return. She smiled softly, replying with a single word: "We fight." That one word carried the weight of the entire human race. As the enemy fleet came into full view, every human on the ships held their breath. The stars reflected off the armor of massive warships, weapons glinting in the distant light. The human fleet moved silently through hyperspace, stars stretching into long lines of light outside every view panel. Captain Hannah stood at the bridge, eyes fixed on the navigation readouts. Beside her, Commander Yuna monitored the fleet's formation, ensuring that every ship held its position. Lieutenant Era adjusted the hyperspace trajectory, her fingers moving swiftly over the controls. They were heading toward the enemy fleet, and there was no room for mistakes. In the tactical room, Jiho studied the latest intelligence reports. The enemy was numerous and heavily armed, but they had predictable patterns. Humans had been watching for weeks, and every movement the aliens made could be anticipated. Jiho marked points on the map where their fleet could be most vulnerable. "If we hit them here," he said to Commander Yuna, "we can disable their command ships before the rest can react." Yuna nodded, trusting his judgment. The young officer had proved himself in simulations, and now his strategies would guide the real battle. On the engineering deck, Daejin and Miare inspected the weapons systems. The experimental plasma cannons were ready, their hum filling the room. "This is our advantage," Daejin said, his voice steady. "They may have more numbers, but our precision and speed can outmatch them." Miare checked every connection, confirming that the cannons were fully powered and ready to fire. They had worked tirelessly to make sure humanity's fleet had an edge, and now it would be tested. The soldiers in the fleet moved through their stations, some reviewing tactical manuals, others running final drills. Young Sukwu adjusted his helmet and checked his weapon systems. Even though the training had been hard, the real challenge was still ahead. He glanced at the view screen, where the enemy fleet's distant outlines were barely visible. The tension was heavy, but there was also a quiet determination in every human heart. They were not just fighting for survival. They were fighting for the pride and future of Earth. As the fleet neared the Orion sector, sensors detected small patrol ships sent by the enemy. These ships moved cautiously, trying to detect intruders. Captain Hannah ordered a stealth approach. Using the nebula clouds and asteroid fields, Humans hid their main forces, allowing the smaller ships to intercept the patrols. Lieutenant Era piloted a squad of fast fighters to disable the patrol ships without alerting the main enemy fleet. It was delicate work, but every move was executed with precision. By the time the main armada realized something was wrong, humanity's fleet had already moved into position. Admiral Minsuk called a meeting with the key commanders in the central communication room. "Our strength is not just in numbers," he said. "It is in our coordination, speed, and ingenuity. We will use every advantage we have. Remember, we are fighting for Earth and for every human being counting on us." Commander Yuna added, "The enemy expects a normal attack. We will give them something they cannot predict." The commanders nodded, feeling the gravity of the coming moments. The fleet slowed as it reached the edge of enemy-controlled space. Sensors scanned the horizon, detecting the enemy armada in full formation. Towering warships with dark metal hulls and glowing weapons glimmered in the distance. Captain Hannah studied their positions, noting the areas where their shields were strongest and where they were weakest. She gave quiet instructions, coordinating the human fleet into a formation that would strike at those weak points. Each ship moved like a part of a single organism, flowing and adjusting to the plan in perfect harmony. Meanwhile, aboard one of the support ships, Engineer Daejin worked with Mira to calibrate the plasma cannons. Every bolt of energy had to hit the exact point to disable the alien ships quickly. "If we miss," Mira said, "they will regroup and overwhelm us." Daejin nodded. "We won't miss. Humanity doesn't fail when it counts." They double-checked every system, ensuring that the weapons would perform exactly as needed. The young soldiers prepared for battle. Sukwu and his squad were briefed on their attack runs, each maneuver carefully planned. They reviewed escape routes and fallback positions, ready to act with precision. Even though fear was present, it was paired with confidence in their training and in the leadership of their officers. Every human knew the stakes were high, and failure was not an option. As the fleet approached the enemy lines, a distant explosion echoed through the sensors. The scouts and patrol ships had successfully neutralized the enemy's perimeter defenses. Captain Hannah's eyes sparkled with determination. "Now," she whispered to Commander Yuna. "We begin." The fleet advanced, moving silently and swiftly, taking the enemy by surprise. The alien ships were still confident, unaware of the precision and coordination that the humans had achieved. Jiho monitored the enemy fleet's reactions. They were beginning to detect anomalies, but it was too late. The human fleet had already positioned itself to strike the enemy's central command ships. He directed the electronic warfare units to jam enemy communications, further delaying their ability to respond. Every move was calculated, designed to create confusion and open opportunities for attack. Humans were small in number compared to the enemy, but their intelligence and creativity gave them an edge. In the midst of preparation, Captain Hannah walked through the bridge, checking on every crew member. She encouraged the younger officers, reminding them that courage and clarity of mind were as important as weapons. Commander Yuna coordinated the warships, ensuring that every attack group was in position. Lieutenant Era prepared for the first hyperspace jump close to the enemy, a risky move that would place the fleet in the perfect position for a strike. There was no turning back now. The enemy finally noticed the human fleet's presence. Their weapons glowed, ready to fire, but the humans had anticipated this. The fleet moved like clockwork, striking quickly at weak points, disabling shields and key systems with surgical precision. Young soldiers like Sukwu executed their attack runs flawlessly, guided by years of training and the skill of their commanders. The enemy could not react fast enough. Panic began to spread through their ranks, a rare moment of weakness that humans exploited immediately. Engineer Daejin watched the battle from his station, focusing on the weapons. Each successful hit was a relief, but there was no time for celebration. The enemy still had many ships, and humans could not afford mistakes. Mira worked alongside him, coordinating with other engineers to ensure that weapons, shields, and communications remained fully operational. The hum of the engines and energy systems filled the ship, a reminder of the immense power humanity wielded. Captain Hannah gave the command to advance closer. The fleet moved like a single living being, adapting to the battlefield, striking at weak points, and retreating when necessary. Commander Yuna coordinated the smaller attack ships to flank enemy positions, while Lieutenant Era executed a series of precise hyperspace jumps to confuse and overwhelm the alien commanders. The battle had begun, and humans were proving that courage and strategy could overcome sheer size and firepower. The enemy tried to regroup, but humans anticipated every move. Jiho directed electronic countermeasures, jamming signals and disrupting communications. Ships that attempted to flee were intercepted by fast human fighters. The alien armada was strong, but disorganized. Humans struck quickly, disabling weapons and engines, leaving the enemy fleet helpless. Captain Hannah observed the battlefield, her heart steady despite the chaos. She knew that the success of this battle would change the galaxy's view of humanity forever. As the first waves of the enemy began to fall, the human fleet pressed forward. Every officer and soldier played a part, from the youngest navigator to the most experienced admiral. The coordination, training, and courage of humans turned the battle in their favor. They did not celebrate victory yet. The fight was ongoing, but hope and determination filled every heart. Humanity was showing the galaxy that they were not to be underestimated. Even in the midst of the battle, small moments of humanity shone through. Captain Hannah received a message from a young soldier, expressing gratitude for guidance and leadership. Commander Yuna smiled at a successful maneuver, praising her team quietly. Lieutenant Era adjusted her flight path to save a damaged fighter. Engineer Daejin and Miare celebrated a perfect weapon strike that disabled a critical enemy ship. These small acts of courage and skill were the heart of humanity's strength. As the fleet continued its advance, the enemy began to realize that they were facing more than just a normal attack. They were facing humans creative, brave, and coordinated. Every move the aliens tried was countered with precision. The human fleet moved like water, flowing around obstacles, striking where needed, and retreating only to strike again. The galaxy watched as humanity proved that even a smaller force could dominate with skill and courage. Night in space was silent, but the hum of engines, energy weapons, and human determination filled every ship. Captain Hannah, Commander Yuna, Jiho, Lieutenant Era, Daejin, and Miare worked tirelessly, each contributing to the unfolding victory. Sukwu and the young soldiers executed their attack plans with bravery. The enemy had underestimated humans, and now they were learning the price of that mistake. Humanity was not just surviving, they were leading. The human fleet held formation, ready for the next stage of battle. The enemy's forces were disoriented, their command crippled, and their ships disabled. Captain Hannah addressed the bridge crew quietly. "We are showing them what humans can do. Stay focused. Every action matters." Commander Yuna nodded, giving final adjustments to the attack positions. Lieutenant Era prepared for another risky jump, knowing that precision could end the battle sooner. Engineer Daejin and Miare ensured that every system was ready for the next wave. The humans were ready for anything, and in that quiet determination, the human fleet moved forward through the Orion sector, ready to face the enemy head-on. The first strike had been a success, but the battle was far from over. The human fleet had emerged from hyperspace just beyond the enemy's formation. Captain Hannah stood on the bridge, her eyes fixed on the array of enemy warships stretching across the void. Commander Yuna coordinated the fleet's movements, ensuring each ship was in the precise position Jiho had calculated. Lieutenant Era prepared the small attack fighters, ready to perform their flanking maneuvers. This was the moment humanity had trained for, the moment where courage, intelligence, and strategy would decide the battle. Admiral Minsuk gave the quiet command to advance. The fleet moved like a single living organism, sliding into the enemy's formation with precision. Humans were outnumbered, but every ship was placed for maximum efficiency. The alien fleet, confident and unprepared, did not immediately recognize the threat. Their weapons glowed, ready to fire, but their coordination was slower than humanity's. The humans had studied every pattern, every movement, and now they exploited it with precision. The first strike was executed by Lieutenant Era and her squadron of fast fighters. They darted in, striking at the weak points on the enemy's forward ships. Energy beams from the human ships disabled shields and engines almost instantly. The enemy tried to respond, but Jiho had anticipated every reaction. Electronic countermeasures disrupted communications, and small drone units disabled weapon systems. The aliens were powerful, but their overconfidence was their weakness. Captain Hannah gave the order to fire the experimental plasma cannons. Engineer Daejin and Miare had worked tirelessly to calibrate them for maximum impact. As the weapons fired, the beams struck key enemy ships, disabling them with surgical precision. Explosions lit the darkness of space, but the humans did not falter. Each ship moved in synchronization, protecting vulnerable points and striking where needed. The young soldiers, like Sukwu, executed their attack runs with flawless timing, guided by the instructions of experienced commanders. Commander Yuna directed the main fleet to divide into attack groups. Some ships moved to flank the enemy, while others targeted the command vessels. The aliens scrambled to respond, but it was too late. The humans had already set the pace and the battlefield. Every maneuver, every attack, every retreat had been planned and rehearsed. The enemy was disoriented, and humanity's fleet pressed forward relentlessly. In the control room of one of the main warships, Jiho monitored the status of every ship. He calculated trajectories, predicted enemy reactions, and directed countermeasures. "The command ship is exposed," he said quietly. "If we target it now, we can end their coordination entirely." Captain Hannah approved the plan, giving the order to focus fire on the enemy command vessel. The human fleet executed the maneuver perfectly. The command ship's shields collapsed, its weapons offline, and chaos rippled through the alien formation. Amid the battle, small moments of human courage shone. Sukwu and his team navigated through debris, dodging energy blasts while keeping formation. Engineer Daejin corrected minor malfunctions mid-battle, ensuring weapons fired accurately. Lieutenant Era performed a risky jump close to the enemy lines, successfully disabling a critical engine on a large warship. These acts of bravery and skill combined to create the momentum humanity needed. The enemy attempted a counterattack, sending fast strike ships to disrupt the human formation. Commander Yuna anticipated the move and redirected smaller ships to intercept. The aliens were powerful and aggressive, but the humans were disciplined and adaptive. Each attack was met with precise counters, each advance met with calculated defense. The fleet's cohesion allowed them to outmaneuver a larger and more heavily armed force. Captain Hannah watched the unfolding battle with steady eyes. "Hold your lines," she instructed. "Stay sharp and watch for any openings." The humans were fighting not just with weapons, but with strategy, intelligence, and courage. Every officer and soldier understood their role and executed it perfectly. Jiho adjusted electronic warfare measures, ensuring the enemy could not communicate effectively. Engineer Daejin monitored the experimental weapons, ready to strike at any weak point identified by the tactical officers. As the battle continued, explosions marked the fall of enemy ships. The humans moved quickly, striking at vulnerable points, disabling shields, and targeting command structures. Lieutenant Era's fighters darted in and out, striking key systems and avoiding counterattacks. Sukwu executed a daring attack run, narrowly avoiding debris from destroyed ships. Each success fueled the determination of the human fleet, while the enemy's morale began to crumble. The main alien armada was in disarray. Their ships moved without coordination, trying to respond to multiple threats at once. Jiho directed electronic countermeasures to jam their communications further. Commander Yuna sent flanking units to attack from unexpected angles. Captain Hannah coordinated the main fleet's movements, ensuring that every strike counted. Humanity's combination of courage, precision, and planning was overwhelming the enemy. In one critical moment, a large alien battleship attempted to escape. Lieutenant Era and her squadron pursued it, using superior speed and agility to disable its engines. Engineer Daejin prepared the plasma cannons for a final strike, ensuring the ship could not return to the battle. The enemy crew was trapped, their retreat blocked by human ingenuity. The capture or destruction of this ship was a turning point, demonstrating the effectiveness of humanity's strategy. Throughout the fleet, humans worked in perfect harmony. Captain Hannah issued clear, concise commands. Commander Yuna managed the complex maneuvers of multiple groups. Lieutenant Era executed high-risk operations. Jiho handled tactical calculations, and Engineer Daejin and Miare ensured weapons and systems functioned flawlessly. Young soldiers like Sukwu followed orders with courage and precision. Each person contributed to the unfolding victory, showing that humanity's strength was not just in technology, but in coordination, courage, and skill. The alien forces were retreating, but the humans did not let up. Every remaining enemy ship was targeted, their movements predicted, their weapons neutralized. Captain Hannah directed the fleet to maintain pressure, ensuring that the enemy could not regroup. Commander Yuna adjusted formations to block escape routes, while Lieutenant Era executed flanking maneuvers that disabled key vessels. Jiho and Engineer Daejin continued to ensure that the fleet's attacks were effective and precise. Amid the chaos, the humans maintained discipline and focus. Sukwu's squad executed one last attack run, disabling a heavily armed enemy cruiser. Engineer Daejin recalibrated plasma cannons to finish off a command vessel. Lieutenant Era performed a daring jump through debris to reach a vulnerable ship. Every success contributed to the collapse of the enemy's morale and fighting capability. The humans were relentless, precise, and unstoppable. As the final enemy ships were destroyed or disabled, Captain Hannah observed the battlefield. The human fleet had succeeded beyond expectation. Their planning, courage, and coordination had turned the tide against a larger and heavily armed enemy. Commander Yuna directed the fleet to regroup, ensuring that every ship was accounted for. Lieutenant Era returned her squadron safely, and Engineer Daejin confirmed that all weapon systems were intact. Jiho calculated the final positions of enemy remnants and directed cleanup operations. Despite the victory, there was no celebration yet. Captain Hannah addressed the fleet, her voice calm but strong. Today, humanity has shown the galaxy our strength. We fought with courage, intelligence, and unity, but we must remain vigilant. This is only the beginning of our journey among the stars. Commander Yuna echoed the sentiment, emphasizing the importance of readiness and continued discipline. The fleet prepared for the return journey, carrying not only the lessons of battle, but the pride of having proven humanity's capability. The enemy armada had vanished, leaving the human fleet as the dominant force in the Orion sector. Every crew member knew that the battle had been won not by sheer force, but by strategy, coordination, and the courage to face overwhelming odds. Captain Hannah and Admiral Minsuk shared a quiet moment on the bridge, acknowledging the sacrifices and bravery of every human aboard the fleet. Lieutenant Era, Jiho, Engineer Daejin, Miare, and Sukwu reflected on their experiences, proud of their contribution and aware of the responsibilities that lay ahead. The galaxy had witnessed the arrival of humanity's fleet and the fall of the enemy. Humans had proven themselves as formidable warriors, capable of intelligence, courage, and precision. The Orion sector was quiet once more, but the victory had sent ripples through the galaxy, signaling that Earth and its people would not be underestimated. Humanity had arrived, and their presence among the stars would be felt for generations to come. The battle was over, and the human fleet drifted through the Orion sector, surveying the results. Captain Hannah stood on the bridge of the flagship, looking at the debris of the enemy fleet scattered across space. Commander Yuna moved among the crew, checking reports and ensuring that every ship was accounted for. Lieutenant Era returned from a final reconnaissance flight, bringing news that no enemy ships remained operational. The humans had achieved a stunning victory, but the work was not done. Every officer and soldier knew that the aftermath of battle required careful attention. Admiral Minsuk convened a meeting with key commanders. They reviewed the damage reports, assessed resources, and planned for the return journey to Earth. "We have won the battle," he said, "but our responsibility now is to preserve what we have and learn from every action we took." Jiho analyzed the data, noting patterns in the enemy's strategy and where humans had successfully exploited weaknesses. Their formation was predictable, he said, and we turned that to our advantage. We must document everything to prepare for future encounters. The others nodded, understanding the importance of study and reflection. On one of the support ships, Engineer Daejin and Miare inspected the fleet systems. They checked for damages, recalibrated weapons, and ensured shields were fully functional. Even after victory, the fleet required maintenance to remain ready for the next engagement. Daejin spoke to Miare. We've done well, but the work continues. Every ship must be ready for whatever the galaxy throws at us. Miare nodded, focusing on the diagnostics, her hands moving swiftly across the controls. Their expertise had ensured that humanity's technology worked flawlessly when it mattered most. The human soldiers took a moment to reflect on the battle. Sukwu and his squad sat quietly in their quarters, sharing stories of the fight. They spoke of narrow escapes, precise strikes, and moments of bravery that had made the difference. Despite their exhaustion, there was pride in their voices. They had faced a superior enemy and emerged victorious. Every soldier understood that courage, training, and teamwork had turned the tide. Humanity had shown the galaxy what it meant to fight with determination and intelligence. Captain Hannah walked through the fleet, speaking to crew members on various ships. She praised their courage and dedication, reminding them that every action had contributed to the success. Commander Yuna coordinated with other officers, ensuring that no one was left behind and that all survivors were accounted for. Lieutenant Era shared her reconnaissance findings, noting areas where enemy tactics had been most predictable and how humans had capitalized on them. The officers discussed strategies for future encounters, knowing that this battle was only one of many that humanity might face in the galaxy. Communication channels buzzed as messages came in from distant systems. Allied races and neutral observers had watched the battle unfold, amazed at humanity's skill and courage. Some sent congratulations while others offered alliances and trade agreements. The Galactic Council, which had once doubted humanity's capabilities, now regarded them with a mix of caution and respect. Humans had not only defended themselves but had proven they could operate effectively in the complex dynamics of galactic war. On the flagship, Captain Hannah met with Admiral Minsuk and Commander Yuna to discuss the fleet's next steps. Our return to Earth will be celebrated, Hannah said, but we must remain vigilant. Other powers in the galaxy have seen what we can do, and they may test us in new ways. Minsuk nodded. This victory is important, but it is only the beginning. Humanity has shown its strength, but we must continue to grow and learn. Jiho presented analysis data, highlighting areas of improvement and lessons learned from the battle. Every detail was examined, from ship maneuvers to electronic warfare tactics. Engineer Daejin and Miare oversaw repairs on critical systems. Plasma cannons, shields, and navigation arrays were all checked and recalibrated. The maintenance teams worked tirelessly, understanding that even small errors could have consequences in future battles. Daejin addressed his team. We've proven our technology is effective, but preparation never ends. We must be ready for any challenge. Miare agreed, noting that the system's performance during the battle had exceeded expectations, giving humanity a significant advantage in space warfare. The young soldiers continued to process the intensity of their experiences. Sukwu and his friends discussed the moments when fear had turned into focus, when hesitation became courage. They understood that their bravery had been amplified by teamwork and the leadership of their commanders. These lessons would stay with them forever, shaping them into more capable and confident members of humanity's fleet. The humans also took time to honor the fallen. Some ships carried memorial ceremonies in quiet corners of space, remembering those who had given their lives to protect Earth. Captain Hannah and Commander Yuna observed these ceremonies, knowing that each loss was a reminder of the cost of freedom and the importance of vigilance. The sacrifices of the past fueled the determination of the living to continue humanity's journey in the galaxy. As the fleet prepared for the return journey to Earth, communications from the Galactic Council arrived. Council members expressed astonishment at humanity's effectiveness in battle and requested meetings to discuss the implications for future galactic security. Humanity had earned recognition not through diplomacy alone, but through the undeniable demonstration of skill, courage, and strategy. Captain Hannah replied with measured diplomacy, acknowledging the Council's message while maintaining Earth's sovereignty and strength. The journey home was filled with reflection. Lieutenant Era monitored navigation, ensuring the fleet followed the safest route while maintaining readiness for any potential threats. Commander Yuna coordinated exercises and drills to keep the crew sharp, while Captain Hannah held briefings to review battle strategies and lessons learned. Jiho analyzed every aspect of the engagement, recording data to improve tactics and training for the future. Engineer Daejin and Miare took time to review the performance of the experimental plasma cannons. Each firing had been accurate and effective, demonstrating the potential for further development. Daejin noted areas where energy efficiency could be improved, while Miare suggested enhancements for targeting systems. Their work ensured that humanity's technological edge would continue to grow, strengthening the fleet for future conflicts. The soldiers of the fleet continued to bond through shared experiences. Sukwu and his squad recounted stories of daring maneuvers, coordinated strikes, and moments when the fleet's teamwork had turned the tide. They discussed the importance of courage, trust, and quick thinking in battle. These conversations strengthened their resolve and prepared them for whatever challenges lay ahead. As Earth drew closer, the fleet maintained formation and readiness. Captain Hannah prepared communications to announce the fleet's successful mission, highlighting humanity's skill, courage, and unity. Commander Yuna ensured that all systems were operational and that no crew members were unaccounted for. Lieutenant Era monitored navigation, anticipating gravitational anomalies and potential hazards. Jiho continued analysis, ensuring that the fleet's performance was fully documented for both historical record and future training. Upon entering the outer orbit of Earth, humans in the fleet saw their home planet glowing beneath them. The sight inspired pride, relief, and determination. The victory in the Orion sector had shown humanity's potential, but Earth was the reason for their courage and persistence. Every officer, soldier, engineer, and navigator understood that their actions had secured the safety of billions and demonstrated that humans could face any challenge with intelligence, courage, and unity. Captain Hannah addressed the fleet one last time before docking maneuvers began. We have shown the galaxy what humanity is capable of. Our victory is not just measured in ships destroyed or enemies defeated, but in the spirit, courage, and determination of every person here. Earth awaits us, and we will return as heroes, ready to continue humanity's journey among the stars. Commander Yuna, Lieutenant Era, and Admiral Minsuk nodded, sharing a quiet moment of pride and reflection. The fleet began its careful approach to Earth, preparing to dock and report to the planetary command. Engineer Daejin and Miare oversaw final system checks to ensure all ships arrived safely. Soldiers like Sukwu prepared for the transition from battle to homecoming, ready to share their experiences and contribute to rebuilding and training for future missions. The humans had not only survived a great challenge, they had proven themselves in the eyes of the galaxy. As the fleet entered Earth's orbit, communications opened with command centers and civilian populations. Messages of gratitude, admiration, and relief flowed throughout the fleet. Captain Hannah and Commander Yuna coordinated the landing and docking of all ships, ensuring that the return was safe and orderly. Lieutenant Era guided the final maneuvers with precision, demonstrating the skill and discipline that had carried the humans through battle. The victory was complete, and the humans had not only defended themselves but demonstrated their readiness to protect Earth and contribute to galactic security. The lessons learned, the courage displayed, and the unity of purpose had set humanity apart. Admiral Minsuk reflected quietly, knowing that this was only the beginning. Humanity had proven itself, and the galaxy would never again underestimate the determination and skill of Earth's people. The human fleet approached Earth, gliding through the calm of space after the intense battle in the Orion sector. Captain Hannah stood on the bridge, watching the familiar blue and green planet grow larger with each passing moment. Commander Yuna coordinated with the fleet, ensuring every ship maintained its position and that no damages from the journey would compromise safety. Lieutenant Era monitored the navigation channels, her fingers dancing over controls, guiding each vessel with precision. The crew felt a mixture of relief, pride, and anticipation. They had fought a great battle, and now they were returning home as heroes. Admiral Minsuk addressed the key officers, reflecting on the campaign. "Humanity has proven itself," he said. "We have demonstrated courage, intelligence, and unity. But our journey does not end here. We must remain vigilant. The galaxy has taken notice, and new challenges will come." Jiho analyzed the latest reports, noting the efficiency of human maneuvers and the effectiveness of the experimental weapons. He made recommendations for improvements and recorded lessons learned, ensuring that the fleet would be even stronger in the future. Commander Yuna and Captain Hannah discussed the next steps for maintaining fleet readiness while celebrating their victory. The returning soldiers were both proud and reflective. Sukwu and his squad sat in a common area, sharing stories of their experiences during the battle. They laughed at near misses, exchanged strategies that worked, and remembered the moments when courage and quick thinking had saved lives. Each soldier understood the value of teamwork and the importance of trust in the chain of command. These lessons would shape the fleet's future, ensuring that humanity remained strong and prepared for whatever the galaxy might throw at them. Engineer Daejin and Miare moved through the fleet, inspecting the systems, recalibrating weapons, and ensuring that every ship was ready for docking and maintenance. The experimental plasma cannons were carefully deactivated and secured, their performance exceeding expectations during the battle. Daejin spoke to his team. "This technology has given us a clear advantage, but it is only a tool. The skill and courage of the humans who operate it are what truly won this fight." Miare nodded, adding, "We must continue to develop and improve. The galaxy is vast, and our future depends on being prepared for any threat." Their diligence ensured that the fleet remained capable and resilient. The Galactic Council had been monitoring the battle and was now in communication with Earth. Messages of recognition, respect, and requests for diplomatic meetings arrived across the fleet. Humans had proven themselves not only as capable warriors but as a species worthy of respect and partnership. Captain Hannah prepared a formal response, acknowledging the Council's observations while asserting Earth's autonomy and readiness for future collaborations. Commander Yuna assisted with the communications, ensuring that every message conveyed confidence, clarity, and human dignity. As the fleet entered Earth's orbit, the planet looked peaceful and beautiful, a stark contrast to the violent chaos of the Orion sector. Humans on the fleet gazed at their home world, feeling a deep sense of pride and relief. The mission had been successful, but it was also a reminder of why they fought. Earth represented all they were protecting, their families, culture, and way of life. The fleet had proven that humanity could defend itself and influence the galaxy through courage, intelligence, and unity. Captain Hannah addressed the fleet's officers one last time before docking operations began. "We return not only with victory but with knowledge, experience, and proof that humanity can face any challenge," she said. "We have shown the galaxy that humans are capable, courageous, and united. Let this be the beginning of a new chapter in our history among the stars." Commander Yuna coordinated the docking sequence, ensuring that every ship arrived safely at their designated stations. Lieutenant Era guided the smaller vessels and fighters with precision, maintaining speed and accuracy to avoid accidents. Engineer Daejin and Miare supervised the final system checks before landing. They verified weapon and shield integrity, navigation systems, and communications arrays. The fleet needed to remain operational and ready, even while celebrating their victory. Daejin addressed the maintenance crews, emphasizing the importance of vigilance and preparation for the future. Miare coordinated with the younger engineers, sharing insights and lessons learned from the battle, ensuring that human knowledge and expertise continued to grow. The soldiers of the fleet prepared for disembarkation, reflecting on their experiences and the lessons learned. Sukwu and his squadmates discussed strategies that had worked and how teamwork had been essential for survival. They understood that courage alone was not enough. intelligence, preparation, and unity had been equally important. Each soldier carried memories of close encounters and moments of heroism, which would shape them into even stronger warriors for humanity's future missions. As the fleet docked, Earth's population watched in awe and celebration. Communications channels were filled with messages of gratitude and admiration. Captain Hannah, Commander Yuna, Lieutenant Era, and Admiral Minsuk oversaw the welcome ceremonies, ensuring that the fleet's return was orderly and safe. Soldiers like Sukwu were cheered as they stepped onto Earth's soil, proud of their achievements and ready to share their experiences with the world. The victory had inspired confidence in humanity's capabilities and offered a glimpse of hope for a secure and influential future in the galaxy. Admiral Minsuk held a briefing with key officers and engineers after docking. They reviewed the performance of the fleet and the lessons learned from the battle. Jiho presented detailed analyses of enemy movements and human responses, while Daejin and Mira provided reports on weapon performance and system integrity. Captain Hannah and Commander Yuna discussed strategy improvements and the importance of continued training. The officers understood that although the battle was won, the galaxy remained full of unknown threats, and preparation would always be necessary. Humanity's victory in the Orion sector had far-reaching effects. Reports indicated that nearby systems had taken notice of Earth's capabilities, reconsidering alliances and defensive strategies. The Galactic Council invited human representatives to discuss future security arrangements and collaborations. Captain Hannah prepared to lead the discussions, emphasizing diplomacy backed by the clear demonstration of human courage and skill. Commander Yuna assisted, ensuring that every message conveyed the confidence and professionalism of Earth's fleet. The soldiers, engineers, and officers of the fleet spent time reuniting, sharing stories, and reflecting on the mission's successes. Sukwu recounted daring maneuvers, highlighting how strategy and quick thinking had saved his squad on several occasions. Engineer Daejin and Mira discussed technical achievements and challenges, noting how every improvement in technology had been critical for victory. Lieutenant Era shared her reconnaissance reports and the risks she had taken, showing the importance of precision and courage in achieving objectives. Even as celebrations began, humanity prepared for the future. Captain Hannah, Commander Yuna, Admiral Minsuk, Jiho, Lieutenant Era, Daejin, Mira, and the soldiers knew that the galaxy would continue to challenge them. They reflected on the battle, the lessons learned, and the strength of human unity. The victory was not just a demonstration of military skill. It was proof of the intelligence, bravery, and resilience that defined humanity. As night fell across Earth, the fleet settled into orbit, and communications with Planetary Command continued. Captain Hannah and Commander Yuna ensured that every crew member was accounted for, that reports were submitted, and that systems were prepared for potential future missions. Lieutenant Era monitored navigation, while Jiho and the engineering teams recorded every data point from the battle. Engineer Daejin and Mira prepared for maintenance, knowing that readiness was the key to surviving future challenges. The human fleet had returned from the Orion sector victorious, having defeated a superior enemy through courage, intelligence, and unity. Soldiers like Sukwu, young and brave, had learned invaluable lessons in teamwork and strategy. Officers like Captain Hannah, Commander Yuna, and Lieutenant Era had demonstrated leadership and precision. Engineers like Daejin and Mira had ensured that humanity's technology gave them an edge. Together, they had shown the galaxy that humans were not to be underestimated. Humanity had proven itself in the vast expanse of space. The Orion sector battle had changed the perception of humans among other species and systems. Earth's fleet had demonstrated the combination of courage, intelligence, and unity that defined the species. As the humans settled into orbit and prepared to disembark, there was pride in every heart. The galaxy had witnessed humanity's capabilities, and the people of Earth had secured their place as a force to be respected and reckoned with. Captain Hannah looked out at Earth, feeling a deep sense of accomplishment. Commander Yuna stood beside her, nodding in silent agreement. Lieutenant Era and Jiho monitored systems and communications, ensuring everything was in order. Engineer Daejin and Mira supervised final maintenance, While soldiers like Sukwu prepared for the next phase, humanity had faced the unknown, and through courage, intelligence, and unity, they had emerged victorious. The galaxy would remember this moment, the arrival of humanity's fleet, and the proof that humans could stand against any challenge and prevail.